What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Shadowlands video. How are y'all doing? Hope you are having a wonderful day, and I hope you're ready to get into some more builds heading into 9.2. We are continuing this series talking about Enhancement Shaman builds moving into 9.2, and what can we expect to get out of each like legendary / tier set combination. What is strong? Honestly, I mean, my big conclusion at the end of all this is that there's going to be lots of different options for you guys, and some of you guys have been asking in the comments, like, well, what about this? What about that? And I was like, well, the answer is that they're all pretty good, actually, and I'm going to try and make sure that I showcase that today and for the rest of my build. So what one are we looking at today? Let me get my notes. You guys get your coffee, get ready. I'm going to put my notes right here. Make sure I can see everything that's going on. So we're talking, obviously, if you're looking at the title of the video, we're talking about Primal Lava Actuators today. Now, this is like the other side of the fire coin, right? If we're flipping a coin, one side has Skybreakers on it, and the other side has Primal Lava Actuators on it. This is kind of what we're talking about. What's the difference? Well, Skybreakers, we know, obviously buffs your Flame Shocks and makes it do a lot of sort of passive AoE damage. It gets the crits going. The crits reduce the cooldown of Chain Harvest, yada yada. It's a huge Chain Harvest AoE build, and it's pretty cool. And Primal Lava Actuators is like a funnel build. So you're taking all those Flame Shocks that you're spreading, and now you're funneling that damage into one target. That's what you're doing. And you're accomplishing that in a lot of different ways. But I'm just going to read what it says here if you guys don't know. Each time Flame Shock deals periodic damage, you increase the damage of your next Lava Lash by 12% and reduce the cooldown by 0.5 seconds. Now, if you guys have been living under a rock, in this expansion, Lava Lash has about a 9-second cooldown. That's with a lot of haste. So it might have more of a 10-second cooldown or 11-second cooldown for you guys, depending on your haste levels. In previous expansions, it hasn't. It's been a much lower cooldown, but now it has a 9-second cooldown. This makes it so that it does not. It means that, especially in AoE situations, if you have 5 or 6 Flame Shocks out, this basically is like a 2-second, 3-second cooldown. If you get a Hot Hands proc, it's like a 1-second cooldown. Well, it's like a 2-second cooldown. 1.5 maybe. If you're in the Lust window with Hot Hands, it's literally 1 GCD. It just, you'll watch the thing just go rip, spins around, you press it again, rip, spins around, you press it again. So that's what our legendary does. Now, what are we going to do with Primal Lava Actuators? Again, sorry, the main purpose of it is essentially to funnel. It funnels damage really, really well. Instead of like Skybreakers takes all that Flame Shock damage and puts it into Chain Harvest, and your Chain Harvest does AoE damage, right? That's what's happening. All those crits from Flame Shocks are reducing Chain Harvest. Chain Harvest goes back out and does big AoE damage. This build, all those Flame Shocks buff your Lava Lash damage, which is a single target ability, and you funnel all that damage into one priority target. So could be obviously a boss, or it could be a priority target within a group of adds that you need to kill. Let's say you're doing Spires of Ascension and those big Guardian dudes that do what's the ability called? I forget what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about, right? In the early parts of Spires, you have to kick it. It's something Opportunity. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, you have to kick those big guys, or else they're going to do big AoE damage to everybody. If you're doing like a plus 20 key, everybody will just die from that. So you can funnel all your damage into that one priority guy that needs to die, the big guy that needs to die. There's all kinds of like menders in Spires of Ascension, the guys who heal everybody. You want to kick their butts right away, you know? There's in Sanguine Depths, there's the guys that send out all the chains that do tons of damage to everybody. You want to focus them down, funnel that target down. That is what this does. Primal Lava Actuators is absolutely solid for funneling the damage that you're getting from your Flame Shocks and bringing it into one target. So that's its big sort of niche in the world here. Let's look really quickly at our stat priority. Does that change any of our stats? And what I'll say here is that you still are going to want a comfortable amount of haste. You want something like 35 to 36% haste. I think on my live character I have 40% haste, which is probably a little bit too much. So you want like 35, 36% haste. And then I genuinely believe, just like with the Skybreakers build, you can go all the way into Mastery for the rest of your stats. And here's why. This is the main reason why. In the Chain Harvest Skybreakers build, there is the effect of Skybreakers, which says your Flame Shocks have 50% crit. That's a flat 50% crit. That's not like you're just getting 50% additional crit, okay? Or more crit, whatever you want to say. And so you don't need to invest in crit because you're getting it all from this legendary. Well, for this Lava Lash build, you're getting all your crit from here, from Magma Fist. Lava Lash has a 31% increased critical strike chance against enemies affected with your Flame Shock. They're always going to have Flame Shock on them. Always. So this becomes the primary conduit that you need to run, and it essentially means that for your stats, I think you can go into Mastery. I think on my live character, I have 20% haste. So 20 plus 31, that means 50% haste. That's what you're getting. I literally just tested this build a couple of times. I was doing it on the dummies. Look at this. I want you to look at Lava Lash. Look how many times it crit. It crit 27 times, and it hit normally 26 times. So it crit 50% of the time. It's exactly what it did right here. That Lava Lash conduit plus my regular crit chance adds up to about 60% or 55%. And this was critting 50% of the time. And you can see some of the crits hit for 21,000 damage, guys. This is no joke. This thing hits really hard. So, you don't need to run crit, in my opinion. Obviously, your other abilities aren't going to have 50% crit, but you're not going to be pressing Storm Strike with this build. You're just not. And I'll show you in a minute when we get to the demonstration. But that's your stat priority. I think you should go haste to like 35, 36%, and then go mastery. I think that's going to be solid for you. Next, let's get to the talents. Let's look at the talents. Similar to the last video, you're going to run this same setup right here. So this is like the new fire setup. Every fire build is going to have these three: Lashing Flames, Hot Hand, Fire Nova. There is something to be said for Elemental Blast. Oh no, we're dying. There is something to be said for Elemental Blast, don't get me wrong, but I actually just think that it's going to be so much easier to use Lashing Flames now, and if we're investing in Mastery anyway, it makes our fire damage better. You can see on this last DPS chart that I was doing, even though Lava Lash is the main button, Flame Shock still does so much damage because of Lashing Flames. So, excuse me. I think if you're going into Mythic Plus, on AoE packs, you want Lashing Flames. If it's like a Tyrannical week and you really think that you're gonna show up better on bosses, take LE Blast. LE Blast is better for bosses for sure, because Lashing Flames only affects like one target on a boss, right? It's the boss. There's nobody else. So, however, I think Lashing Flames overall is going to serve you very, very well in Mythic Plus. So this is the setup that I would recommend, but there's a caveat here. You can absolutely go LE Blast if you want to play it, and it will help you on boss damage. So you go Lashing Flames for the Flame Shock damage, Hot Hands for our proc. We need this, of course, because this is a Lava Lash build, not a Flame Shock build. And then Fire Nova shores up your AoE component, right? You can see Fire Nova right here doing 11% of my damage on this last thing that I was pulling. That's how strong it is on AoE. And once again, we're investing in Mastery because it buffs our fire damage, right? So those are the talents. You're obviously going to go Elemental Spirits for almost every single build in this new patch because of the tier set bonus. And let's talk about the tier set bonus right here. So this obviously says that the two-piece is what we're interested in as a fire build. Spending Maelstrom has a 3% chance to summon a wolf. Those wolves will be juiced by elemental spirits, so you can get fire wolves. If you get a fire wolf for 8 seconds, or 9 seconds here, you get 20% more fire damage for those 9 seconds. So we don't really care as much about the wolves' damage because we're not doing like a Witch Doctor Wolf Bones build. Like you can see the wolves' auto attack is way down here, 2%, yada yada. But what we do care about is the fact that when a Molten Wolf is out, we are getting 20% more damage. So important to remember that. So what else? The 4-piece is okay. Your Feral Spirits attacks have a 20% chance to trigger Stormbringer, which is fine. But really, once you guys get the 2-piece bonus going, you're like in business with the fire builds. The fire builds only care about the 2-piece. The 4-piece is fine, but we don't really press Storm Strike unless there's absolutely nothing else to press, which in an AoE situation, there's always something to press. Lava Lash is always up. So really, it's the 2-piece that we care about, and you're really going to want to get that. The 4-piece is obviously just additional help on Storm Strike. Moving on, tier set, talents. Now, I'm going to talk about the Covenant and the Soulbinds. This is, like, really interesting. I was actually just testing all of this, and I'm gonna recommend 2 things. Number 1, you can go Venthyr. Number 2, you can go Necrolord. And I was actually chatting with somebody about this yesterday. I just tested the Necrolord build, and it's like really good. That's what this is. That's what these numbers are right here, I think, right? Primordial Wave. Yeah, here's the Primordial Wave. So let me explain why this is good. I'm going to show you the difference right now between. This is the Necrolord pull. I did 18.4k overall. I got one reset on Primordial Wave. So the Primordial Wave has a chance to. You see how Primordial Wave got cast twice in this fight? No, it got cast more than twice because it was a 2.5 minute fight. Anyway, point is, I got a reset on Primordial Wave, which means I got the haste buff once again. I'll explain the Necrolord stuff in a minute, but I just want you to see how many times I pressed Lava Lash with the Necrolord build. I cast Lava Lash 53 times. If we go to the Venthyr build, I cast Lava Lash 30 times. 29, but basically 30 times. Like, the amount of haste that you get from splintered elements from the Necrolord Covenant legendary effect here is absolutely ridiculous, and it helps to fuel the Primal Lava Actuators playstyle. Because each time Flame Shock deals damage, it reduces the cooldown of Lava Lash and buffs its damage. That's affected by haste. Those Flame Shocks will start ticking 10 times as fast, basically. You can get... My haste went from 32% to like 100%. I think it was like 90-something percent, 96% for like 10 seconds when I cast the Necrolord ability. And then I got a reset on it, and I cast it again. So I had 20 seconds straight of 96% haste. The cooldown on Lava Lash, I couldn't hit it fast enough. I'm going to show you guys this build in a minute. I'll show you the Necrolord one in a minute. But here's my recommendation in going into 9.2. You can go Venthyr or you can go Necrolord, I think, with Primal Lava Actuators. I'm going to show you the Venthyr one first, and then I'll switch over to Necro later. But let me just go over the strengths and the weaknesses of both of them. The Necrolord one, you get that huge haste buff. It helps to fuel your hot hand procs because your auto attacks are happening more quickly. Melee auto attacks with Flame Tongue have a chance to reduce the cooldown. I'm telling you, you get a hot hand proc right away because your haste is 100%. So your auto attacks are just zinging in there, and you have a really, really high chance of getting a hot hand proc. So the Necrolord style really gives you huge hot hand procs in the window, in the haste window. On top of that, both of these builds, both the Necro and the Venthyr builds, allow for strong funnel because once again, you're taking all the Flame Shock damage and you're funneling into one person. I'd say the Necrolord ability has better single target funnel. Of these two builds, Venthyr Primal Lava Actuators versus Necro Primal Lava Actuators, Necro has better single target funnel because of all that haste you're getting, but the Venthyr has better AoE damage in general. Big chain harvests going out all the time. There's better sort of just consistent AoE damage versus the Necrolord one, but they both are similar and they both do funnel. The weaknesses of the Necrolord style, of course, is that if you don't get a reset on Primordial Wave, you feel really, really bad. You just do. You feel awful. If Primordial Wave like never resets on you, if you get extremely unlucky, your damage goes down quite a bit, and it just feels incredibly, incredibly bad. You want to be able to chain those haste windows back to back. Get the 10 seconds, right as the 10 seconds is ending, chain it again into another 10-second window of like 100% haste. That's what you want to be doing. So that's the weakness of the Necrolord style. And it has less AoE than the Venthyr style. What are the strengths of the Venthyr style? Well, very easy application of Flame Shocks. So you get larger AoE burst damage from Chain Harvest, and you reduce the cooldown of Chain Harvest pretty fast. Even without Skybreakers, you still get regular crits, and the Chain Harvest cooldown is probably something like 40 seconds. Actually, we can look at that right now. Let's look at this is, oops, not that one. It's this one. How many times did we cast Chain Harvest? 4 times in a 2-minute. That's every 30 seconds, right? 30, yeah, 2 minutes, 4, yeah. So we cast 4 Chain Harvests in a 2-minute period of time. That's a 30-second cooldown of Chain Harvest. Even without Skybreakers, we had Chain Harvest going out roughly every 30 seconds. So with Skybreakers, that'd be more like 15 seconds, right? 15, maybe 20 max. So you can see that that's the difference. The Venthyr style for Primal Lava Actuators, the Venthyr style here is that you get big AoE bursts and you get free Flame Shock spreading, which helps to reduce the cooldown of your Lava Lash with Primal Lava Actuators, right? So what are the weaknesses of the Venthyr build? It has less single target funnel than the Necrolord one, because the Necrolord one has haste, and haste will buff your auto attack damage. It buffs your Wolves auto attack damage. It buffs how fast your Flame Shocks tick. It's just really crazy, right? So That's the difference between the two builds. So now, yeah, we're going to do a demonstration of both builds. This is what I want to do. So I've got my hearth set for Snug Harbor here. So we're going to do the Venthyr one first, then I'm going to run over and switch over to Necrolord in Ouroboros, then I'll teleport back here and we'll do the Necrolord one. So starting with the Venthyr style for Primal Lava Actuators. Remember, this is all about Lava Lash, and we're getting the extra bonuses from the Venthyr style. You're going to put your Wind Fury Totem down. It doesn't matter. It's inconsequential. We're only going to have 5 targets here. The cap on Flame Shock is 6 targets. So in a regular Mythic Plus, you're going to want to get 6 Flame Shocks out. Because again, this style of Primal Lava Actuators does include the reduction of Chain Harvest. You want to reduce the cooldown of that as much as you can. And we're simply pressing a Flame Shock, spreading it with Lava Lash, detonating with Fire Nova, and then using our Chain Harvest when it gets super infused here. So let's do this. Here we go. Boom. We're going to hit here. We're going to do there, and then we're going to detonate. And Wolves, we should have done Wolves earlier, but it doesn't really matter. We got a Fire Wolf. You can see the cooldown of Lava Lash comes down pretty quickly, right? It's pretty consistent. We haven't really pressed Storm Strike because we don't want to. I'm going to press it once now, but I'm basically going to alternate between Chain Lightning and Lava Lash. That's the style here. Chain Lightning, Crash Lightning. Look, Flame Shock's back. Fire Nova. There's a Storm Strike. Oh, Lava Lash is back again. Crash Lightning into a Chain Lightning into a Lava Lash. I am tab targeting because we want to get the Lashing Flames debuff out, right? Oh, that was a mistake. Chain Harvest is almost back. There we go. Get it out. Make sure that you tab target for Lava Lash to spread Lashing Flames, and the damage will go way up. So this is how it goes. You see Chain Harvest coming back again. Big, fast cooldowns of Chain Harvest. We keep getting Hot Hand procs, which is awesome. In between each Lava Lash, you can press like a Chain Lightning or a Fire Nova. Or if there's nothing else to press, you can obviously press Storm Strike. But you basically don't want to press Storm Strike. We're going to do one more rotation here with the Wolves to show you what that looks like. If you do choose to run Venthyr, you're going to go Theatar. I'll show you that at the end. Here comes the Wolves again. Theatar is, of course, going to drop the big Shade, which gives us a bunch of Mastery, which is what we want. Those are our stats, right? We want to be getting Mastery. There it goes. Chain Lightning into... We got a Hot Hands proc. Let's go again. A little bit longer. We'll wait till this Hot Hand proc is over. There we go. Okay, that's it. So almost 18k. It's going to go down here because we have to run away. But 18k, and you can see how long was this fight. Just over 2 minutes. We pressed Chain Harvest 4 times. And again, it would be off cooldown soon. Oh, we keep getting disconnected. We'll get back into it for a second. You can see that we got the Chain Harvest procs. We got 4 in 2 minutes, right? So that was pretty good. And you could see the damage of Flame Shock was incredibly high because that is what this build is all about. But Lava Lash was right behind. You can see that the Lashing Flames buff for our Lava Lash was like huge, right? Let's check that out again. So here we go. Lashing Flames. The Lashing Flames buff that we're getting up here, of course, is what's making Flame Shock do so much extra damage. But Lava Lash was close behind, and Fire Nova is close behind, and then Chain Harvest is right there as well. So you get this extra burst AoE damage with Chain Harvest. You get easy setup of your Flame Shocks from Chain Harvest because that's what the extra bonus does from Venthyr. So it has a solid like AoE component to it that the Necrolord ability does not provide. It's not the exact same on the Necrolord front. The Necrolord style is better at funneling damage into a single target because of all the haste that you're generating. It doesn't have this big burst of AoE like the Venthyr one does. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean either one of them is bad. I'm just trying to explain to you the differences here, right? So if you want those free, consistent Flame Shocks from Venthyr, along with the sort of the burst AoE healing and the burst AoE damage, then the Venthyr one is good. You're going to get this on a... Chain Harvest is good. You're going to get like a 30-second cooldown on Chain Harvest, 35 seconds probably. And that's going to provide all those things for you, which is awesome. It's a little bit easier, I would say, to manage because it's very passive. All the flame shocks that go out from Chain Harvest are just passive healing. Sorry, passive damage. But also you get those Riptides as well. So the Venthyr one has that extra oomph to it, where if your group needs a little bit of extra off healing, you get this huge chunky heal from Chain Harvest, plus then you get the Riptides afterwards. I really do enjoy that style. It really can help your group out in Mythic Plus quite a bit. So that's the strength of the Necrolord Primal Lava Actuators. You saw that Lava Lash cooldown was like it just came back over and over and over again. We're basically never pressing Storm Strike because you don't want to. Like, we've invested in Mastery. If we're investing in Mastery, that does not buff Storm Strike damage. Storm Strike is physical, not nature. And our Mastery buffs Fire, Frost, and nature damage. So my point there is to simply say, if you can press Lava Lash, you must. And pressing even any other fire button, like Fire Nova or Flame Shock, is probably worth doing versus pressing Storm Strike. So it's a very different build, obviously. But that's what you get. You get a consistent cooldown reduction on Lava Lash, and you get big AoE bursts from Chain Harvest that give you those free Flame Shocks, so you don't have to spend really any time thinking about it or managing your Flame Shocks as much. Now, the Necrolord style. This style is a little bit different. It's the same idea, Primal Lava Actuators, and we are funneling damage into a single target, but we're doing it with big haste windows now. Instead of it being a big burst of Chain Harvest damage, we are getting a huge burst of haste in like a 10-second window once we do the Primordial Wave buff. So if you guys don't know, setting out Primordial Wave will put a Flame Shock on something, and then your next Lightning Bolt will cleave all targets with Flame Shock on them, and it'll give you 10% more haste for every target that you hit with that Lightning Bolt. It's up here now, right? Each additional Lightning Bolt generated by Primordial Wave increases your haste by 10% for 12 seconds. So I think they actually buffed that. It was 10 seconds. They actually buffed this in a recent patch, so that's even better now. So this is great. So let me show you how this works. You're going to want to take Plague Divisor Merilith. I'm sorry I didn't talk about the Venthyr Soulbind. So the Venthyr Soulbind is Theatar, like I said, and this is the conduit that you want to take for both. If you're running Theatar, you want to take Magma Fist, and if you're running, if you're gonna go Necrolord, you should go Plague Divisor Merilith or Bonesmith Hiramir, because he gives you Mastery as well. But for now, you can play around with that all you want. But I do enjoy Plague Divisor. I think that he's actually just quite strong, and you're gonna need to take Magma Fist, and then you have to take Tumbling Waves. Okay, Tumbling Waves gives Primordial Wave a chance to refund the cooldown, and then this is essential to our build, of course, because we're only going to be pressing Lava Lash. Okay, those are the two conduits that you need, and I would go Plague Divisor. And because you're going Plague Divisor, when you have Fleshcraft on, you're going to get 120 Mastery for free. So you can see our damage, our Mastery is at 41%. It goes all the way up to 48% just because of our shields. That's 7% more fire damage we just got right there. So, what is the rotation looking like for the Necrolord version of Primal Lava Actuators, right? What are we doing here? Number one, you're going to do Flame Shock into Lava Lash, and then you're going to spread an additional Flame Shock over here. Then you're going to Primordial Wave, then you're going to press Wolves, and then you Lightning Bolt. You want your Wolves to be in the Primordial Wave Lightning Bolt window because you're going to get a bunch of haste, right? That haste affects your Wolves. And it also affects how often they trigger the 4-piece of your tier set, which is sort of irrelevant because we don't care about it. But the point is it makes their auto attacks go a lot quicker, and it just buffs them in general, which is really, really good. You want to make sure your Wolves are in the haste window for your Primordial Wave, okay? So, here we go. We're going to start it here. Flame Shock, spread it, crash. We're going to send a Primordial Wave over here. We got to reset. Oh my gosh, we got to reset. Are you ready for this? We're going to detonate. Here comes the Lightning Bolt. Big haste window. Here comes the Wolves. Look at how fast our cooldowns are. Look at my Lava Lash. Look at Lava Lash. Look at Lava Lash. It's so fast. Everything's so fast. Okay, our window is ending. We're going to add a Primordial Wave over here. Oh my god, we got another one. Lightning Bolt, and we go again. Look at our haste. Our haste is at 98% right now. 98% haste. It's so fast, guys. It's so incredibly fast. Okay, the haste is ending. We're going to Primordial Wave over there. We got another reset. This is silly. Okay. Okay, we got a Lightning Bolt coming up here. Here we go. Here comes our Lightning Bolt. Big haste. Big haste. We go. All of our cooldowns, like Lava Lash is a 6-second cooldown, and it's back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and it's back. Over here, another Primordial Wave over there. Okay, we didn't get a reset, but that's okay. We've been very lucky. Lightning Bolt, and we go again. More haste. Look at even Fire Nova comes back really quick. Fire Nova is like a 7-second cooldown. So that's it, guys. That is how that works. If you get a hot hand within that window, obviously it's absolutely bonkers, right? We're gonna keep going here because our last test was we had 2 casts of our wolves, so we're gonna make sure that we stay honest here and do the same kind of test. Remember to always tab target with your Lava Lash. Okay, our wolves are back. Tab target. We got hot hand. Oh my gosh, hot hand. We're gonna Primordial Wave here. We got a reset on Primordial Wave, Lightning Bolt, and go. Here, look at the haste. Look at us go. Boom, 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 boom. Tab target. Tab target. Second Primordial Wave. Lightning Bolt. We're still going. We're in the haste window again. You can see that's a little bit more seamless there. I did it a little bit better that time. That's how you can do it. You can just chain it back to back. You might want to get a weak aura that shows when you've got the buff rolling. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to see. And one more hot hand window. You can see we're doing about 20k sustained AoE. That's kind of disgusting. We only have 5 targets, right? It's going to drop down because we have to get out of combat. But you can see we're at 20k sustained AoE there. Hey, Flocked, how you doing? So, let's look at the breakdown. No Chain Harvest AoE, right? No free Flame Shock application. But what did we get? Well, we got this buff right here, this Primordial Wave buff. Giving us the haste. Splintered Elements was up for 50% of that fight. So for 50% of that fight, we had like 96% haste. That was lucky. I'm not going to lie. That was lucky. But this is the way that this build works. Sometimes, I'd say on average, it's going to even out. And it's going to give you the buffs when you want them. And then it's going to, sometimes you're going to be unlucky and you're going to feel kind of sad. But on the whole, over the course of an entire fight, over the course of an entire dungeon, per se, your Primordial Wave will get lots of resets. And you're going to be able to do what we just did right there. So, look at our Lava Lash, right? We cast Lava Lash 46 times there. And look at the crits. It did 21k crits. It crit 65% of the time. Look at that over there. 65% of the time it was critting. So it crit like twice, like almost like 33% more than it was normally hitting. That's just because of this conduit here. That's why this conduit is so essential. You need Magma Fist. So you can just see like the damage there was really good. We had 20k sustained AoE damage. That's not bad at all. There's nothing wrong with this. I know that it's not uncapped AoE, but it's fine. It's perfectly fine moving into 9.2. And I think that this is actually the better build between Venthyr and Necrolord. I think that the Necrolord one is just like better. Obviously, it depends on you getting Primordial Wave resets, but man, the haste is just so stupid. Like, you saw how fast we were rolling through all of our stuff, and your dogs are attacking faster. Like, everything is going faster. And what it primarily means is that you're going to get hot hand procs more consistently. If you've ever taken the hot hand build into a fight and you use hot hand, like try to get a hot hand proc without lust rolling, and then try to get a hot hand proc with lust rolling. When you have lust rolling, like heroism, you get hot hand procs so quickly. And when you have this Primordial Wave buff rolling, you get hot hand procs so fast. So often, sorry. And it's just because it's based on your auto attacks, right? Melee auto attacks with Flame Tongue have a chance to give you your hot hand proc. So I wonder if it shows. Look at Primal Lava Actuators uptime as well. This is the other piece of this. This was I had the buff from my legendary up 84% of the time. Like, it's just actually insane. And the reason that this haste is so good is the haste buffs your Flame Shock ticks. It buffs how quickly your Flame Shocks deal damage, which means that your Primal Lava Actuators buff in the top corner will go, boop, it goes up to 8 stacks right away. And then you spend it and boop, it goes back up to 8 stacks right away. It's very, very, very quick. So you're getting the full benefit out of this legendary in like 2 seconds. It goes right to full. You spend your Lava Lash. 2 seconds later, it's full again. You spend your Lava Lash. You're ready to go. So you're not wasting any of the damage from Primal Lava Actuators. You're getting all of it because your haste is so friggin' high, and your auto attacks and your flame shocks are ticking so fast that they're getting this up to full right away. So that's the build. Those are the 2 styles. Venthyr style, big chain harvest damage, big AoE damage, free flame shock spreading. The Necrolord style, no big burst AoE like that, but you have consistent AoE and you have these huge haste windows, and you funnel all your damage into these haste windows, and it makes everything go a lot faster. It makes your hot hand procs much more quick, and it makes your Primal Lava Actuators legendary build up to full stacks like instantly, and it just increases the amount of damage you do by a lot. You can put your dogs into the haste window. If you get a reset on Primordial Wave, you can chain haste windows back to back, and it's very, very strong. So I think both of these are perfectly fine ways to build your Primal Lava Actuators character in 9.2. You can go Venthyr or you can go Necrolord. Either one will work for you. Now, that leads us to the very last... what'd you say? Man, me also... Cleave boss fights. Yeah, I think that... there's just somebody in Twitch talking about Cleave fights. I think... let me just make a little note here about Mythic Plus, right? Because people are going to say that these builds don't work as well on the single target side of Mythic Plus, and they do lack single target damage, even though they have the ability to funnel, except that every single boss in 9.2 will have the encrypted affix on them, and that means they're going to have 3 little relics, so you can flame shock the boss, and then he'll have 3 little relics around him, and you press Lava Lash, and it spreads flame shock to all 3 of those relics. And then that's buffing your Primal Lava Actuators damage. And then, once those 3 relics die, they're going to spawn an Automa. And then the Automa, you have 2 target cleaves. You have 4 target cleave and then 2 target cleave. Like, Mythic Plus bosses are going to have lots of cleave on them, which allows us to cheat a little bit on our Primal Lava Actuators, which is really, really good. It makes this build not suffer as much on boss fights. It's going to be really, really strong. So, that's it. Those are the builds that I wanted to show you for Primal Lava Actuators. Where are you going to craft Primal Lava Actuators? Well, there's really only one choice. You're going to want to do it on your wrist, because the hands, you can either go hands or wrist, but the hands are the part of the tier set bonus. So you don't really want to craft it on your hands and then open up your vault at the end of the week and get a drop on a tier set bonus drop for your hands. So just go safe and craft it on your wrist, and you'll be good to go. That's the safest place for you to put it. So that's it, guys. Let me check my notes. I think that's everything. I think that my conclusion here is that I really like Primal Lava Actuators. I might genuinely consider taking Necrolord Primal Lava Actuators into the next raid tier, into the next season as my starter build, because it helps you accomplish a whole bunch of things. First of all, on the Necrolord side of things, it gives you that big haste window, but we get free AoE cleave now, right? Because we get to spread our flame shocks. Free cleave that way, and you can detonate them with Fire Nova, so our AoE damage is just going up right out of the gates for free. On top of that, you're taking all that fire damage and you're funneling it into one big Lava Lash. If you have hot hands rolling, and if you have the haste buff rolling, you might get lucky and get a crit, and get a 21,000 crit on a Lava Lash. That's ridiculous amounts of damage that you're able to put out with Lava Lash if you have a couple of these things just lining up, right? If hot hands procs, and that's actually all you need to happen, I think, right? Hot hands procs, and you have to make sure that you have this conduit here. If you got that going, then you can have these massive crits. So this build is really good at spreading free sort of cleave AoE with your flame shocks. Whether you go Venthyr or Necro, you can do it both ways. Then you're taking all that extra damage, you're funneling it into one target, and you're blasting that one target with big hot hands Lava Lash procs. So that's how this build works. It's a ton of fun. It does perfectly fine in AoE. It has strong single target components as well. And I think it's going to be completely viable moving into 9.2. So that's Primal Lava Actuators. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you so much for the support recently, for all the subscriptions. We're almost actually at 600 subs. We're like almost at 550 already. So let's keep climbing. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, I would encourage you to subscribe. And I'm going to keep doing more content. Moving closer to 9.2, I'm going to be doing a Doom Wins video. We're going to talk about what's the state of Doom Wins moving into 9.2. We're going to do a Deeply Rooted Elements video. We're going to do a Witch Doctor Wolfbones video. And I think that'll round out all the different videos that we're going to be doing for the builds for Enhancement Shaman moving into 9.2. Thank you guys once again. I'll catch you in the next one.